What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and after my cathartic first video this morning, by the way, keep sharing it on Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, wherever you get my video or Markiplier's video, and hopefully Team YouTube will make some changes internally, or maybe at least stop lying to us about having real humans reviewing appeals, which it's clear that they don't. But I thought I would share a bit of interesting good news. It would appear not everyone inside of Blizzard is on the side of the Blitzchung ban, and some, in this case, Jeff Kaplan, head of Overwatch team, a longtime Blizzard employee, has spoken out against the ban and says that he wants it shortened or removed in its entirety. A bold move for Kaplan, I think, to rock the boat late on a Friday afternoon, a week where Blizzard kind of just rode the wave of BlizzCon and didn't have a lot of bad things happening for once. Hearthstone player Blitzchung remained suspended in the wake of his live stream protest in early October in favor of demonstrators in Hong Kong. That is despite an apology to fans over the handling of the matter. Blizzard President Jalen Brack at the start of the company's mega convention, BlizzCon. In the days since the convention, there are many who feel Blizzard has not done enough to correct their actions. And after it reduced its suspension from 12 to 6 months and returned the winnings it initially had stripped from Blitzchung. One of those people is Blizzard Vice President and Overwatch game Jeff Kaplan. Game Director, sorry. So here's the thing. You're the vice president of the company, and you don't want that ban to stand? Come on, man. Who else has the power? There's like one person above you on the org chart. He said, quote, "I was relieved when they reduced the suspension," Kaplan said in a Friday phone interview. "And I think the suspension should be reduced more or eliminated. But that's just me." But when Blizzard banned Blitzchung, there was an overwhelming backlash. From congressional letters to social media posts, politicians, gamers, and even prominent former Blizzard employees voiced their displeasure. Not only did many onlookers deem the punishment unfair, but there were concerns that the studio was favoring its financial interests in China over free speech. And you have many articles. Blizzard former World of Warcraft lead is boycotting the firm for punishing Hearthstone competitor who supported the Hong Kong protests. I'm assuming this is Mark Kern. Yes, it is. And this is in the face of, see, the complicated thing here is, if I can pull this up really quick, to be honest with you, Blizzard has had their best subscription growth in World of Warcraft ever. And if I wanted to, my World of Warcraft subscription officially ends in 7 days. I'm still holding out hope Blizzard will make this right. I wanted to make the video that laughed at Jalen Brack again. You think you do, but you don't. Well, Blizzard monthly active users up to 33 million. World of Warcraft in Q3, World of Warcraft drove the biggest quarterly increase in subscription plans in franchise history. You think you do, but you don't. The biggest, again, the biggest growth ever. Reach in October remained well above pre-classic levels, with deep engagement across both classic and modern World of Warcraft. At BlizzCon, Blizzard unveiled the next expansion, Shadowlands, set to launch in 2020. Looking at Hearthstone, Blizzard announced Dissent of Dragons, expansion set for Q4 2019, and new Battlegrounds Auto Battler mode. They talked about Overwatch. This is all from their financial call. Diablo 4. Blizzard also announced Diablo 4, the highly anticipated sequel to the genre-defining franchise. Overwatch. Last week's Blizzard revealed Overwatch 2. I still don't know why you're calling it Overwatch 2, other than just to charge people $60 for a new game. Overwatch League Season 2 concluded with a sellout crowd of over 11,000 fans watching the grand finals at the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia. Season 2 AMA grew by 18% year over year. In Q3, Overwatch engagement benefited from the introduction of the game's latest hero and well-received gameplay adjustments. Everything's going good for Blizzard, which is so frustrating because I actually want to cheer for them. I want to be a fan of Blizzard. I want to play World of Warcraft Classic, although the more I play Final Fantasy XIV online, the more fun I'm having. The community there is very helpful, and there's a ton of WoW refugees there. So there are a lot of people that are really willing to help you and get you into, you know, this understanding, hey, you used to do this in World of Warcraft, but now you do this. The world, in my opinion, is just far more beautiful. The story mode is better than World of Warcraft, but it's still not World of Warcraft. And ideally, I'd be playing both at least a little bit with my limited time to play video games. But as this continues, in the thread, Kern, who identifies as ethnically Chinese, strongly criticized the Chinese government games industry. He claimed that he had seen firsthand the corruption of the Chinese gaming companies and that he had once been, quote, removed from a company I founded after Blizzard for refusing to take $2 million kickback bribe to take an investment from China. Not everyone refused like I did. Kern's criticisms also focused on China more broadly, as well as homing in on Blizzard. He accused China of dictating the world, be authoritarian, calling on Blizzard to grow a spine it used to have, and admitting that Blizzard is the last company I ever expected to give in to China's demands. Now, back to the interview. When Blizzard banned Blitzchung, there was overwhelming backlash. It's obviously a huge. Kaplan goes on to say, I'm obviously a huge supporter of free speech. It's something that's very important to me, Kaplan said. It got to me personally. I think the punishment was too harsh, and then I was greatly relieved when they gave him his money back. I think that was extremely important. Look, Kaplan, of all the memes, all the Jeff Kaplan memes out there, I have to give you huge credit for standing up and standing out and saying, hey, I don't agree with this. I work with the company. Now, he's in a position where they're not going to fire him for disagreeing publicly with some of their policies, but that doesn't mean he had to do it. It doesn't mean he has to stand directly opposed to J. Allen Brack, which this is, because in the interview at BlizzCon, we saw J. Allen Brack, first of all, double down on the banning, saying, no, we will not be reversing the bannings on Blitzchung. We also saw one of the most hollow apologies, in quotations, probably in history, outside of maybe the hilarious meme that is the YouTube apology video. But Kaplan, I really appreciate this. He says, it happened, quote, way too quickly, and as it came as a shock to Kaplan. He shared that most of his staff, including himself, didn't know about the incident until they saw the news articles on the subject. As someone who is regularly a part of the conversation when it comes to handling suspensions and bans for the Overwatch League, he explained that normally these decisions are tactfully and thoughtfully considered. So you're saying that it was a knee-jerk reaction to appease China. That's the only conclusion I can make, is that some suit at Activision or at Blizzard was extremely concerned of what China would say. We saw J. Allen Brack admit that, remember that horrible tweet that Blizzard put out saying that we're going to defend the honor of China or something totally creepy. Allegedly, that wasn't something that Blizzard approved. It was actually tweeted out by Tencent, but nonetheless under the Blizzard name. I'm 100% certain that Tencent was immediately involved and demand a ban. That's just the way it went. I refuse to believe anything else. We've had to deal with a few of them in season 1 in particular, and that process usually takes 4 to 5 days to make the decision, Kaplan said. There's always a group of us involved in deciding what the punishment would be, and we would heavily devil's advocate every part of the decision, so that I was actually shocked that it was such a harsh penalty levied. Brack told fans that last week's Blizzard last week that Blizzard, had indeed made the wrong decision, but did not rescind or further reduce the punishment. This is the part of his apology that was the most frustrating to fans that want them to do the right thing, I believe, is that he said specifically, look, actions speak louder than words, and then he went on to do nothing. So you admit, Jalen Brack, that you were wrong, but you're not going to correct it. Why? There isn't a person outside of the Chinese border, and probably the Chinese government, to be more specific, that would have any problem with you saying, we oopsied, we're going to undo it. We moved too quickly in our decision making, and then, to make matters worse, we were too slow to talk with all of you. That didn't stop them from waiting for the world stage at BlizzCon to try and sweep it all under the rug. Kaplan is not the only Blizzard employee to come forward with his disapproval of how Blizzard handled the controversy. In an interview with Kotaku, Hearthstone game director Ben Lee told the outlet that he believed the initial decision was too harsh. Kaplan is, however, the first Blizzard head to publicly state that he wants the suspension to be revoked completely. Hey, Kaplan, you know, I haven't always supported you in the past, but I 100% back you here on this, and I'm really, really appreciative that you had the stones to come out publicly and say that. Kaplan made it clear that he did not speak for the entirety of the Overwatch division, and that many of his team developers have differing opinions on the situation. I doubt it. I think as individuals, we all have very different feelings about what happened in regards to the Hearthstone tournament in Blitzchung, Kaplan said. There are a lot of different reaction among all of us. I don't necessarily think there's anybody on Kaplan's team that is upset. Kaplan told the Washington Post that he thinks Blitzchung's suspension should be reduced more or eliminated. I had been thinking about whether to continue my Hearthstone career in the past few weeks, Blitzchung said in a statement, since I haven't reached my professional goals yet, and I don't want to fall by the wayside. I will start competing again after I'm unbanned. So Blitzchung will return after his 6-month ban, and to be honest, it's only 5 months from now. I don't think that at any point we should forgive and forget this. I think that you could probably further reduce his ban to like 3 months, and I guess we'd have to be okay with that. There's going to be a certain section of people that I really do understand where they're coming from that will say, look, it should have been 0, and unless they remove it entirely and do it now, I'm never going to forgive them. There's a lot of people that aren't Blizzard customers that have really strong opinions on this, and there are people who are Blizzard customers who have really strong opinions on this. And I've talked about this on the channel before, and I want to be clear again. You can absolutely be a customer of Blizzard and be critical of their decisions, and you can absolutely not be a customer. I don't think you have to boycott in order to be critical of them. Sometimes the voices of actual customers are heard much louder, while those who can't prove they're customers aren't always regarded the same way. I mean, I have a lot of people that come after my channel, and I'll check, and I'm like, oh, they're not a subscriber, or they don't even follow me on Twitter. So it's easy to like kind of throw their critiques by the wayside, right or wrong. So whatever side you're on, and I mean of whether to play their games or not, because I don't think there's anybody that watches my videos that supports the ban. I think that we all can agree that Blizzard screwed up here, and that we all still are anxiously awaiting them to get it right. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.